is Kevin, also known as AWOL, and today we're working on pattern number 74335. And yeah, this is a fun kind of pattern. It's gonna be, I'm imagining, a little bit more difficult towards the middle, but we'll see how it goes. The whole point of this video is just me make the bracelet and give you any insights that I have as I go along. So first off, I'm using the same pattern that we have over on AKAAWOL.com. So these are where the blue are. This is the second one, and then those two. Okay. Alright. So when I create my patterns, I don't necessarily create them to the colors that I intend on using. And sometimes that can get a little confusing for me. I do make the patterns, however, and I've said this just absolutely dozens of times, that my patterns are made so that way if you need to change them up, you absolutely can. You can go into GIMP, which is my picture editing tool, or painting and whatever kind of editing tool, and you can use the select by color and then paint that entire selection, and that will give you to the colors of your choosing, so that way maybe it's just a little bit easier, especially when it comes to like getting started. That I think is a thing. Let me look at this pattern. Yeah, I think this is where I intended this one. And then, so yeah, basically what I did was I changed up, there's a black, gray, and white in the original design, and I changed those up for 3 different shades of this red, so that way there would be a little bit of an element of what was actually in the original, kinda, but with my own spin to it. So yeah, that's what we're trying to figure out here. What is that? And then what are there's the 3 of the grayscale and then 2 other colors. So trying to put all those into the right sequence and make this make sense. Now this pattern is, I would say, an intermediate, because it's going to take some real know-how on some of the knotting, like I said, especially towards that middle section where it kind of does a lot of zigzagging. However, we did manage to put 2 of the dark colors in. It doesn't look like it's necessary, but we put in 2 of the darker colors, and that means that at times you can swap out the strings in order to use ones that aren't getting too short. So that kind of solves one of those problems that definitely come up from time to time. I've had a number of bracelets where basically it's string chicken, right? Where you hope you make it to the end of the bracelet, but it's not looking good. And yeah, for me that's like one of the more stressful things that can happen while making a bracelet. So whenever possible, if there's a color not being used, taking and putting in that another of that color that is used the most, and you can solve the whole chicken game. Alright, let's get this going. Mind you, we are going to speed up portions of this because it just doesn't make sense to go the whole time, because it'll probably take me, I would guess, an hour or so to make this, at least. Maybe more. The zigzaggy part does seem like it's going to be a scary sort of thing for me. We'll see. I know it's a lot like an arrowhead. It's just not the kind of arrowhead that I choose to do when I'm just wanting to relax or whatever. Like if you may have noticed, like I'll make bracelets while I'm on vacation, and one of my favorite ones to do is an arrowhead, but it's not this one. This one is just a little more finicky, and I like it to be nice and easy when possible. So. And as always, I'm trying to start this off with a really nice, good, clean start, because how you start your bracelet will definitely affect more of the bracelet as you work your way down. So I like having a really good, clean, nice and tight kind of start. And there we have it. First row done. So I've kind of half tempted in making this as a double wide. The pattern itself, if you watch the video while I was making the pattern, it turned out that there was very little for me to actually change up to make it actually fit the size bracelet I wanted to make. So now I'm curious as to what other things could we do with it. And one of those possibilities is maybe doing a double wide. I think that might be an interesting take on the pattern itself. I don't know. It's up to you guys. You guys tell me if you think a double wide makes sense, if that's something that you want to see. And then I can see if I can find some time to do that, if that's a choice. If not, I've got plenty of patterns that I was kind of eyeing and thinking about doing my takes on. So, like I said, this was going to be a my take on the pattern, and it just turns out that it fit perfectly inside of the thing. I thought there was going to be a space problem of where things are going to fit together, and then I would sort it out by being creative, as I have done many times before. But in this case, it really just turned out the pattern fit. So, surprise, surprise. And you'd be surprised like how seldom that ever works out. And that's why I want to teach everybody, basically. That's why I'm trying to teach everybody how to customize their own patterns. If there's a segment of a pattern that you want to have centered, or part of a design that you want that maybe you want to combine it with something else. There's a lot of things that you can do with these patterns that a lot of things that you can do with a pattern to make it your own. And I think, for me, I think that's where a lot of the fun really comes in, is taking the part that I like and seeing what I can do with it. So that's my hope. That's what I want to teach. And, we're not maybe doing a lot of that today. Today will be kind of seeing what this one does and seeing what the color choice is like. The purple, by the way, it's hard to tell in this light, but it is a fluorescent. So if a black light or a UV light, whatever you call it, shines onto it, it will glow in a kind of a weird purpley way, which is pretty neat. Also, the pink is also fluorescent. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to have a couple colors that really popped on this thing. And yeah, it'll look kind of neat when the whole thing is done, I think. Alright, I think I am going to go and speed this up now. And I will get back with you when I get to a point where I have a bit more insight and something to say. Alright. So far, one of the things that I'm noticing is that I have to look at the pattern quite a bit in order to make sure that I'm going the right way, especially when it zigzags or whatever, right? So, like this right here, like does it, when it comes off the edge, does it go straight or does it, tuck in? I'm having to look at it. However, as I'm doing more of segmented knots, once I've done one side and have that how it's supposed to be or whatever, I can just mirror what I've already done on the other side. I don't have to keep looking at the pattern for that. And I think that is kind of helping me to kind of work fairly quickly with this. I mean, it's not a quick pattern for me at all. It's not my normal version of doing an arrowhead, but there are some little plus sides to it, and this is the kind of stuff I kind of half expected going into this, was that they're not always going to be my favorite patterns or whatever, and there are times where it's it's not going to be the easiest thing. So in that case, um, kudos, right? You step out of your comfort zone, you try something new, and something cool comes with it. Like so far, I really think the bracelet looks pretty nice. I'm not complaining in that aspect. It's just a case of um, the fact that I do have to actually stare at the pattern as much as I am. That kind of throws me a bit. Well, I mean, it's not the only design I've ever had to look at the pattern per se, but um, I am glancing over there at my computer to see it kind of regularly. So let me know what you guys think. Is this the arrowhead that you prefer, or are you like me and you prefer where it goes five down and then three back? Because this is like three down and one back. So yeah, and I guess as I progress along, as I get further and further into this, um, I guess I'm getting kind of more used to the zigzag. It's that initial getting used to it part that's really bothersome, I guess. Well, let me know what you think. If this is one of the ones that you prefer or not, I don't know. But definitely leave comments, because YouTube seems to think that's a huge kind of benchmark as to how much you like the channel. So I would really appreciate leaving me a comment. I read them all. I do try to respond to every single one. I don't know if that's going to be possible if this channel ever actually blows up, but I like to think that I will certainly try for as long as I can. As you can see, it's just a matter of doing a side and then going and trying to match that on the other side. And it seems that I'm favoring the left side to start with. I'm not sure if I have a good reason for that or not. It just seems to be working for me, so I'm gonna kind of keep doing it. Seems like this time the white tucks inwards. Don't know why. Don't remember when I was doing the pattern if that was it had to or not. It's just it does its thing, and I just follow the pattern. So, all right, I'll go back to speeding this up. Well, you might have noticed, even though it's been sped up, that after getting through the middle part, I seem to have changed my tactics, and that is true. I am noticing that it is far easier to just do kind of a row by row take on coming towards the middle. It just, the way that the knots flow and everything, it just works out really good for me. So, really, when it comes to these kind of projects, there are some people who will say, segment knot this and do this, but it really comes down to sometimes, what feels right. And in this case, it is, for me, turning out that, yeah, I don't mind doing just a little bit on each side at a time. It's a little bit easier to keep track of where I am in regards to not just where it is on the pattern, but I can kind of see better how a particular color is moving, right? Because it's 3-1 3-1 3-1, right, for the thing, or if you count it 2 over, I guess 3-2 for the zigzag. So I can see that there was 1, this is 2, and this is 3, and obviously that sort of makes sense because then I'll have the little dot here in the center. So it's just making it a little bit easier to see what's happening, keep ahead of it. I'm not sure I would have liked it on when it was coming the other direction. I tend to think that this kind of works when it's coming downwards, but yeah, this is kind of moving right along. 1, 2, 3. This one. Yeah. So yeah, it's just a little different way of looking at it, a different way of doing things. So hopefully, like I said, that maybe out of this whole thing, maybe you kind of see a way of doing stuff that helps you to get a pattern done, make it happen and stuff. So yeah, we're well past the halfway point. We're coming up on going back to the other diamond, which will actually complete this thing. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of fill you in. This isn't that bad of a pattern. It's a little bit tricky, but it's not so bad. All right, let's speed this up again. Well, there you have it. The bracelet is done. So this kind of zigzag kind of, you know, really packs in a lot of stuff in a small space. I think it's a pretty bracelet. I think it's really fun. I really kind of like the colors we used. I like how this pink really pops as it's being centered in between those two dark reds. But that's it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking around this long. And yeah, I'll be back with more videos coming up. I got lots of ideas, lots of stuff going on. If you have suggestions, just either put them in the comments on YouTube or join us over on Discord. And then, yeah, we can see what we can do about that. And then, as always, don't get your strings in the bunch.